This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
This morning, and welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, your station for fresh news, smart talk all day. Good morning to Grand Bahamas as well. They sent a message just now, say, don't forget Grand Bahamians, if you heard that coming in through the microphone. And if you're in Grand Bahama or any of our family islands, if you're on a boat in the middle of the Bahamian seas, you can call 242-300-5720 toll free to join the conversation today. That's 242-300-5720 for people in the Bahamas, but not in New Providence. Also, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259 to call the show. Text line is 422-GR96. Throwing the numbers out right now because I think it's going to be a hot show. Lots to discuss. It's an on-the-clock Guardian Radio AM mashup, man down, Wednesday, and we are going into the news. Before we get into the news, one quick plea, a request of the RBPF, Royal Bahamas Police Force, to enforce traffic controls. Y'all may not have noticed it, but we don't have any traffic enforcement policies in this country, except for have a roadblock every once in a while. We need actual traffic enforcement. Over the last week, I've seen as many drivers in as many days decide that they are just going to run red lights. In fact, this morning, on my way to work on Shirley Street, as I approached Camp Road, on my green light, I began to slow down because what I was seeing on Camp Road South looked odd. I was correct. I was watching a car overtake the stationary line of traffic waiting to enter Shirley Street to force their way into traffic. It's a good thing I slowed down because I would have entered the intersection just as the light turned orange, turned yellow, but I also would have run into that vehicle running the red light. I beg, Royal Bahamas Police Force, please live up to your own mandate. Every officer is a traffic enforcement officer. Please remind them of that and ask them to enforce traffic controls. Thank you very much. Now on to our Sand Dollar live read. Today, Wednesday, the 26th of July, Central Bank representatives will be giving out sand dollars at SuperValue, Wolf Road, and Montrose Avenue. Show your sand dollar-enabled digital wallet at the door and receive $20. Spend $18 or more in sand dollars at the register and get $5 back when you leave the store. This offer is limited to the first 100 customers to show their sand dollar-enabled wallet at each location. One top-up per person, so as many people as possible can experience the Sand Dollar. For more details, visit any of the Sand Dollar social media pages or call 302-9880. Today is the last day, and so I'm going to encourage everyone. Right now, you can get on your phone, go to the App Store where you download apps to your phone, and look for a Bahamian Sand Dollar wallet provider. Download one of the wallets. It's very easy. I don't want to seem like I'm preferencing one over the other, but the one I have is very easy to use. There are 7 Go online, find it. It's very easy. Most importantly, you're going to need a digital wallet to play today's On the Clock Sand Dollar giveaway. Every day for the next 3 months, we'll be giving away sand dollars to digital wallet holders. Every day, winners can receive $30 in sand dollars. To be eligible to win, you must have a digital wallet and answer the trivia question correctly. When you call in, give the producer your name and number, digital wallet provider, and your digital wallet address or custom name to transfer the funds to your digital wallet if you get the right answer. Listeners are restricted to one transfer for the duration of the competition. You can only win once. So I'm going to throw out the first question of the day. What are the coldest and hottest planets in our solar system? So I'm looking for the name of 2 planets. Which planet is the coldest and which planet is the hottest in our solar system? Again, the numbers to call, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, 242-300-5720. Text line 422-GR96. That's 422-4796. Remember, you have to give the producer your digital wallet information. And it's very easy. Go to the Android store, go to the iPhone, the Apple store, and download a wallet. Good morning, Mr. Nuri.
Good morning this morning. It's good to be here, Erin, on this Man Down Mashup Wednesday as we analyze the news.
Yes, sir. There's a couple of stories I see in the paper. Growing fury over rising BPL bills. This country lacks leadership. Finance Ministry not satisfied with costs for new prison. And that's all on The Guardian. Today's Tribune, front of the fold, errors on payroll cost government $120 million. Mitchell tells Bell not to respond on immigration. Shack for guests only until 5 p.m. Lewis charged in New York with brazen insider trading scheme. Let me see the headline for that in The Guardian. UK billionaire Joe Lewis, owner of Tottenham soccer team, charged with insider trading in the U.S. There's a bunch of stories I found that I think we need to talk about. But let me start with another story. I just want to sort of start the conversation, and I want to continue it in the next couple of weeks. I found this article in Monday's Guardian. Bahamas agrees to join development of EU, that's European Union, LAC, that's Latin America and Caribbean Digital Alliance. The Bahamas has agreed to join in the establishment of the informal European Union, Latin America and Caribbean Digital Alliance, according to a statement from the EU. According to the statement, the alliance will provide for regular dialogue and cooperation on digital matters for, quote, the benefit of our citizens, close quotes. It creates a strategic framework to foster future cooperation, as well as for the substantial EU LAC digital infrastructure in the Latin America and Caribbean region, like the Bella program, Copernicus Centers, the Latin America and Caribbean Cyber Competence Center, and other specific projects, for example, on cybercrime under the El Pacto program. The statement explains. The EU LAC Digital Alliance promotes cooperation on a wide range of digital issues, including digital policy dialogue, internet governance, data governance, infrastructure, connectivity, security, data protection, artificial intelligence, and other emerging digital technologies, skills development, technology entrepreneurship and innovation, digital trade, and space-related activities, such as Copernicus Earth observation data and Galileo EGNOS satellite navigation application and services. And I thought that this was an interesting story, Mr. Nuri, because it seems like at the global level, we are creating another sort of oversight and regulatory body to govern the way that we live. I am concerned because I worry or I wonder what is the proximity of the average Bahamian to decision making within the Digital Alliance and around these digital issues. And I wonder what the impact will be on certain technological areas for Bahamians and other people in the Caribbean. The article goes on to say the Bahamas, along with Argentina, Barbados, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Costa Rica, the Dominican Republic, Ecuador, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Jamaica, Mexico, Panama, Paraguay, Peru, Suriname, Trinidad and Tobago, and Uruguay are in the alliance. According to the statement, the alliance's forum will help to develop an investment agenda for the digital space. The statement said the forum will meet regularly with periodic high-level policy dialogue on the agenda. These meetings will serve as a free exchange of information and the identification of joint priorities. By forming this digital alliance, we signal our shared intention to develop the basic digital competences of all citizens so that they can engage with and access digital technologies in a safe, confident, critical, and responsible manner with a special focus on women and girls. Now, again, Mr. Nuri, it raises some issues for me because they talk about developing an investment agenda for the digital space. And they talk about skills building capacity for citizens in these jurisdictions. But to what extent will citizens in this jurisdiction have a say, get to engage policy making on things like new technologies and how they will be implemented in our jurisdictions, like say in the Caribbean? Because it raises for me the difference in developmental pace between Latin America and the Caribbean. Where do we stand? Where do we sit in the discussions? Are we going to be just following up and hoping to adopt technology that we see other countries having without really making an assessment of how they fit and how they should be applied in our specific jurisdictions? Throw all of that out there, and then one of the striking issues that it raises for me as I see the unfolding of artificial intelligence technology throughout the globe, right? One of the things I'm concerned about is when you adopt AI, when you use an AI app, right? In particular, people are uploading their faces and allowing the AI app to create an AI version of themselves or an avatar. It's lots of fun, very artistic. Somebody who has very little creative skills can make great art with AI. But in some of the contracts, in some of the terms and the agreements, right? These companies own your image and they can do whatever they want with your image, right? And some of the companies already realize an issue arises, and they have clauses that say, if you are damaged in any way by our use of your image in our products, the maximum that we are required to pay you is 50 cents. Right? And I think that's a big thing that we haven't talked about at a national level. And so when I saw this article, I just wanted to raise it, bring it up quickly, talk about it, because we need, what I'd like to see from the government is that they provide the resources for the operation of a independent body to provide think tank services and to scope out, right, or to provide a scope of AI applications in the Bahamas and the legislation and the regulations that we would need to protect people in the Bahamas and Bahamians specifically?
Emmanuel, I hear what you're saying, and I appreciate the conversation. I just believe their approach should be different. I think the approach should not be nationally. It should be actually regionally. How AI technology is going to be impacting the region in general, the Caribbean in general. There should be some general conclave, some general agreement amongst all Caribbean nations that said, how will AI impact the Caribbean? What we should be looking out? What are the general consensus of the Caribbean in terms of what we will adopt as a region? What we will reject? What we will ask questions? So when we do approach these conglomerates, these big companies, we approach them as a region with strength instead of individually as nations with limited resources and limited expertise. I think there's more expertise in the Caribbean that we should be tapping in. So I do hear you. I appreciate the conversation. I think that our approach should not be one of just the Bahamas.
It should be a CARICOM approach to it.
Yes, and it should be a CARICOM union segment that said, this is your goal.
Your unit, yeah.
Your unit, come back with your research and come back to us. So I'm hoping that's what would happen in the future.
Right. I mean, that's an excellent idea, because another one of my concerns is that this will become another regulatory space like, what's it, OECD? Like the same group of people that decided that they were going to put us on the blacklist, right? Like, I'm concerned that without a proper philosophical establishment, that this group can eventually function in a way that doesn't shrink the gap between developed and developing countries, but actually maintains or widens the gap between developed and developing countries. So I'm just going to read the title of the article and some subsequent articles that I read for people who may be interested. And when I say for people who may be interested, for the industry stakeholders to please begin to form groups, right? To import, to add your professional opinions and positions on the issue so the public can have access to valid and relevant information to help them form their opinions and to strategize, and to help the government, because they are also going to need access to international and local experts to strengthen their negotiations and their ability to negotiate and establish themselves as leaders or just as players, sound players in this space.
I agree. And I find that a number of technocrats who are in the industry tend to be preaching too much. And you don't preach to government.
Yeah.
You start preaching to government, you get shut out. You want to be a participant in any negotiations going forward. You don't preach to government. But you give recommendations of what should be doing. This is the benefit of it. And then leave government to consider such. And if they consider such and say, okay, this is what we are aiming toward, and then they will be embraced. But when you start preaching and saying, this is the government, you're doing it wrong, and only me what's saying is right, and then you are marking yourselves not to be included moving forward.
And what I recommend is you create an association, a guild or a union of industry experts. You establish yourself as experts, as organized experts, and you begin to produce position papers.
Yes.
The government say they have green and papers and white papers. You begin to do the same thing, and you don't have to fight the government, right? You support the government because the government has to rely on local industry experts.
Yes.
Absolutely. And so the alliance was launched on the 13th of March. You can find a press statement on the European Union website. It's called Global Gateway EU, Latin America and Caribbean Partners Launch in Colombia, the EU LAC Digital Alliance. And then I'm coming to you right now, caller, quickly. EU LAC Partnership strengthens, forms EU LAC Digital Alliance in a publication called Identity Week on the 20th of July. Those are some great articles to follow up on. Caller, you're on the clock.
Well, good morning, Erin. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I think the the authority on this would be C. Alan Johnson, the critical thinker. I'm sure he's going to call in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm enjoying all the other callers. The subject is very important, and it's not getting the attention it needs. I notice if we were talking politics, you'd have the lines off the hook.
Yeah.
You see, we have an opportunity in this country to be carbon neutral, net zero, crypto capital of the world. Banking 2.0, right there in Grand Bahama.
Mm-hmm.
Changing Grand Bahama to that modern city it was meant to be. However, when we start saying these things, the Europeans listen, and they may go, hold on, we have to put our foot on these Caribbean people neck and the people out here in the Atlantic Ocean. So we have all kinds of agreements. European Partnership Agreement, remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
WTO, remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And we signed, I could go on the list, but, I only get 30 seconds. So let me leave you at this. These technologies, in the hands of young people in this country that should be taught how to use these technologies in school, I dare tell you that we could not only compete, but beat 103% of the world. And that's why they're running scared, and they want to put us in some group with them. Why do we need to be in the group with the European? Why can't we be in a group with the Caribbean people, since they say we're Caribbean?
Mm-hmm.
Why do we need to be in a group with the European, not the American?
We always want these colonizers to be telling us what to do.
We love the colonizers. You're 100% on point. We love to be colonized.
Yeah, but don't
Are we free,
colonizers no more, please. Thanks.
Are we independent? Because my Constitution, Article 71, says that the power in this country is vested in His Majesty now. Yeah. And the word vested means to bestow land and power.
Man, Graham, you only getting me excited and upset.
I don't want to get too excited.
I got two more callers on the line, Graham.
Leave the studio, and I'm going to get me a nice, juicy something to eat and go relax myself. But it's a good subject.
Thank you.
I wait for all 37 other callers.
But Graham, here's what to do. Speak to people that you know are best aligned in the space and encourage them to start organizing, please. Thank you very much.
Now, Erin, please, we never network. That's how they divide and conquer us.
Yeah, but okay, so let's make a shift. Thank you, Graham.
Once you put a 5-year celebrity in, you think they're going to listen once I take my precious time, organize the whole thing, and then we present the best case scenario that could actually revolutionize the country. The leaders are going to listen. Once I get a blue plate, my friend, you ain't, I as an angel, I elevate out the hemisphere.
Thank you, Graham. I get it.
I think with this, we'd have had solar by now if they were going to listen.
I got you, Graham. Thank you.
Later.
No, thank you. Good morning, caller. You on the clock?
Morning, and thanks for taking my call. Whenever C. Alan and Graham call, and I put my record mode on.
Yes, sir.
And I'm looking forward to it. But you see all of these platforms, Erin. Let me tell you how it works. You sort of requested to do a little feedback form, a little survey here and there, and it's all about collecting this data, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now, mind you, they will let you know, point blank. Now, whatever you put in is going to be reviewed by developers, and that's how it's developed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I would advise every thinking Bahamian to download Python, which is a good programming language. It's what the chat G is written in, and join the PyCharm community, right?
Okay.
And then meet some new people who ain't gonna be talking about the stupid politicians, who are actually talking about how to, if you want to leave yourself for your grandchildren to look at and appreciate, you could do that. You see,
I appreciate what you're saying.
Yeah, because this other stuff is so stale. We've been doing it for so long, just having dead people running the country, when you could actually have something that's alive and vibrant, like an AI, that could say, welcome home, how was your day?
Right. Listen, I want to thank you.
Make sure it's offline, okay?
No, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah, don't let your AI program go floating around the internet, because people can see it and modify it for you. So keep your personal, whatever you got home, keep it home on your own server, like Hillary Clinton did.
Yeah, look here, caller, give the producer your number, please. Don't hang up. Producer, my God. Please take this caller's number. Thank you very much, caller.
Yeah.
I got to go upset Cecil Erin now.
Even more.
Listen, Mr. Nuri, you hear what the caller said, right?
No, I ain't listen to that at all.
Okay, that's your business. But he raised a point. Because I'm here, really, I could imagine people listening and saying, oh, it sounds like Erin don't like AI. It sounds like Erin, I am very concerned about AI. I'll be honest with you all. Very concerned. But what the caller said just now, right, is one of the potential uses for AI is that when you've lost a loved one, if you had captured their image or enough data about them before they passed away, you could create like an avatar, an AI avatar of that loved one. And so when you come home from work, like maybe you set it up.
I ain't healthy, man.
Listen.
Everyone would be God, man. It's just craziness, you know. It's craziness. Why would I want to do that?
It's like the people who have that last voice message from their loved
Go
one.
look at a picture.
And they can't delete it from their phone because they want to hear the voice one more time.
Go pray.
There's this great desire
Go pray to God.
for that.
The desire should be to pray to get closer to God. All that thing is vanity. Vanity, said the prophet. Vanity. This AI thing. You know how much people in the Bahamas ain't have no food today, and we talk about AI? Let's talk about how we can feed them people, man. This AI thing don't bother me at all. That's N-world type things, man.
It doesn't bother you at all until you are caught in circumstances that you
Of
can't
not having
control.
no food. You know how to wake up and you say, boy, I hungry and I have nothing to eat?
When you're hungry and you're lightheaded, you make silly decisions. And then all of a sudden, people are all around the globe making millions of monies with your image.
We have people on
Not just
on
money,
the
they're
beach.
making monies.
Let's talk about people who living on the beach.
The millions ain't gonna matter if you're dead.
They be dead. We have people dying, man.
Imagine, hold on,
Yeah, I
listen.
know.
Here's another example. Imagine we have a tourism product. We claim that we have the best tourism product in the world because geographically there's no place like the Bahamas. But what I can put to you right now is that there are people who no longer have to come to the Bahamas to be in the Bahamas because the technology, right? Listen, hold on. The technology available and the lack of regulations on the table allow some random person to create a program where you put on your VR glasses and you put on your VR, your sensor pads, right? Just like how you could go to the movies and the chair moving around like the earthquake. And they have an experience that's so realistic that they no longer feel the need to come and visit the Bahamas because they're in the Bahamas in their own home.
When you walk into a food store and you see something, right? You see a product.
Mm-hmm.
Does it feel better to taste it or it feel better just to look at it?
Hold on, 1 second.
I don't
Producer,
hear you on the mic.
can't hear Ian on the mic.
I asked Erin.
Hold on. Speak again.
Tap it.
I hear
Yeah,
you
we
now.
back.
Go ahead.
We up.
Okay, I asked Erin a question. I said, if you walk into the food store and you see a product in the food store, right? Is it better for you to look at it or is it better for when you take it home and you taste it?
Okay, I put it to you like this. Do you know that they're now printing meat? That they have technology where they're printing meat,
I see that.
right?
I saw it.
We don't have any regulations yet in this country to provide for the mandatory inspection of meat before it comes into the country to determine whether it's printed meat. We don't have any regulations requiring the separate labeling and identifying of printed meat, right? We don't have any legislation, cruise ships, any boats coming into the country, they could bring in any type of meat. The technology exists, and if we don't pay attention to it, we don't have to love it, we don't have to even engage in it, but we have to pay attention to it to ensure that we're protecting ourselves. I mean, and I'm not saying that's the end of the discussion, Ian. We can get back to it. Let me go to this caller, and then we can get back to that point. Because you ain't half wrong. You ain't bring me no Johnny cake off your shelf yet, but you ain't half wrong.
So you want to see it in your head or you want to taste it?
All I could do is see it in my head right now. It might as well be AI. Good morning, caller. You are on the clock, Guardian Radio AM, Man Down, Mashup Wednesday.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me. It's Wednesday. Mr. Munnings and then Mr. Nuri. Mr. Nuri.
Blessings, Jim.
You know they don't want to hear them with God. You saying you forget me and you in the generation where we pray to God, right? These people, they're trying to create a godless, hedonistic, transhumanistic society.
I see they
Transhumanistic capabilities and technologies won't be for the poor. So living vicariously through a robot is BS for me, okay? Now, the question is, who shall save the human race? Which is in a big disgrace. And so we are, the thing is, Erin, I really wish the public, like Christian Nordland said, one of the spokesmen for the CDC, can be more enlightened on the scientific literature to see the BS in it. So the thing is, we know they're printing meat, but it's basically RNA interference technology, gene editing, whatever. But if the public was to understand what they're doing, then you'll understand there are different ways of genetically modifying foods. Whatever the ingredients are, it's quite frightening. There are different ways to do it, and there are pros and cons. And so what I found out, Dr. Arthur was on the other day, didn't get the call, so I went down a rabbit hole of this is particularly genetically modified foods. It actually alters the glycogen pathway and affects the liver. So I just go down the rabbit hole some more. And these are the things that they're not telling people them. So there are pros and cons to these genetically modified foods. There are pros and cons to artificial intelligence. So we know that they're programming these AIs. So why is it that this narrative is appearing that AI will destroy humans and how AI will react to us? When basically it's those who are controlling AI. They're writing the programs, they're using the algorithms. But the question again, who shall save the human race? They are breeded, they have engineered a society. When people like my generation and gone and beyond, they will have the rest of the mindless, pathetic, engrossed sheep believing that technology can save them and solve all of humanity's problems, which is BS. They would rather create new ones. I keep saying this over and over. I'll challenge anybody on anything when it comes to this now. There are pros and cons to everything, but maybe we need to look into it. But the world is heading down a dark path, and we'll all suffer the wrath. There's no ducking and turning. Hospital, cemetery, or jail. I didn't be into the two. I just waiting to go to the cemetery. That's all it is. Bless up.
52 is always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure. Okay, see, 52 said it. There are pros and cons. There are positive things we could do with AI, and then there are things that are negative things you can do with AI. I am not arguing for or against its value. What I am suggesting is it exists.
Yes, it does.
And because it exists, we now must be proactive and not reactive and begin to organize ourselves so that people like Cecil could say, look here, I think a lot of this is vanity. I think we need to focus on feeding people. And I got a text here, the person said, I raised this point for Nuri, who come from a whole private school. AI can't help homeless people by tracking those who need food and getting medical help for them. I mean, it can. Why not? Tell me.
The world's divided between two sums of people. Either you're rich or you're poor. Either you have it or you don't have it. That's the general consensus of the actual world that we currently live in, right?
Right.
So the people that are actually controlling these particular systems and these particular things, are they geared to really check for the poor, or are they really geared to do their self-work, what they're dealing with? Their agendas and whatever it is that they initially want to do, like removing of checks, coming into digitization of terms of money, making one currency. All of these particular things, you think these people just invented these things? And then we look at our brothers in the North that just print money, but it isn't backed by anything. So what makes the money real? And we call real money. Is it real money real?
And Ian, you making sense, but I can't hear you because the Johnny Cake ain't real. The Johnny Cake you offer me is still AI.
The Johnny Cake is journey cake, so you actually took a journey before you taste it.
The place said you got to take a journey. You can bring your itinerary and your ticket.
I see my concern here is what is in the best interest of working class Bahamians. The other day I happened to go to the airport and I had to park. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And I had to park to pick up the child, right? And forgetting that you need a credit card now to pay $2.
Wait, no.
Yes.
Right? Because that's all my bill came up. My bill came up to $205.
Yeah.
Short-term
You
pocket.
need a credit card for short.
You need a debit card or a credit
Listen,
card.
Paul,
Or you have to walk into the airport and use one of the systems that they currently have.
So here's what I'm talking
to
about.
get a card.
Here's what I'm talking about, right? In terms of proactive versus reactive. Cash is legal tender, right?
It is.
Now, I know I got to go through the laws. I know in the States, you can't refuse legal tender. I thought that was a global principle,
That's
right?
a global principle.
In democratic free countries.
Yes.
You cannot refuse
Here too.
legal tender. But here we have a number of, this is why I don't like private-public partnerships, right? Because it's as if you become a private-public partnership and then the rules don't apply to you.
No, a practice isn't really law. Remember now, people doing things that are being practiced, but that's not necessarily means that is within the jurisdiction of the law.
Yeah, but you could get locked up if you try to drive out without paying.
Who's saying your lockup?
And you need to have paper money in order to pay. You can't pay with the 4 quarters no more. You know, see, and they're making it inconvenient for working class people.
But no, it's better than that. Why are you going to make me pay a $2 bill with a credit card? Why does it? Why did nobody?
Or debit.
Look, why did nobody sit down and think it doesn't matter that I have money and I don't care about credit card fees?
No, you have to
it's
go.
It's stupid.
Watch what they did. If you didn't have your debit card or your credit card, then that means that CA would have had to go on into the airport, and they have a booth that is designed in the airport. You'll place $5 within a booth.
Paper money.
To get a card.
They had a quarter section?
But to get a card, quarter section.
Yeah,
that's
but,
my
but
point.
where you can park to get to the booth inside the airport?
You stuck it there, you can't come out.
You're stuck in the short term, and you have to go within the airport, and then they have a kiosk booth in there, and then you put the $5 within it. You have to purchase the actual card to apply the money to the card.
Remember when I was saying that we have more dollars than cents?
You see where we going with that?
So you purchase the card have value or no value, and the money you have to put onto the
Yes,
card.
sir, you have to
That's
put it
two
to the card.
different pay.
For those who don't have a debit card.
Right, and
for those who poor.
I wouldn't call
hold
it
on,
who controls the app.
And now Sand Dollar is legal tender in the Bahamas. You're requiring cashless services, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so, can your machines facilitate?
They don't accept Sand Dollar. They don't accept Sand Dollar legal tender. They want my legal tender from Sand Dollar at the airport.
They didn't take it.
They didn't take it. You can't transfer money and say, hey, I have money on my
At the
Sand
national
Dollar.
airport, you
See,
can't.
something wrong. That's why I say this AI thing conversation ain't addressing us, the issues we have in the
No,
Bahamas.
it is addressing us because we are dealing with it. We have to live it. We suffer.
We may live the reality of what those persons would have decided to infringe on us, but the reality is that's not the case for the poor working class.
Oh no, it is. It is the case.
Like CA mentioned, the real issues are Bahamians are waking up in the morning without a cup of tea, without a bread, without a this, without a that.
But no,
that is reality.
No.
The reality is when you look on those lines and you see.
Hold on, Ian. Stick a pin. It goes beyond that. Because you're suggesting that poor people just live poor lives, and what I'm saying is that poor person's daily struggle is greater than just will I find food. That's the person. Hold on. It is the basic necessity that they're struggling with, but it's not the only.
Of course not.
Right, and the point is this: I've witnessed people over and over again having made their way to a venue, 2 buses, 3 buses, catch a ride, to be told, oh, it's cashless. Oh, we can't take that form of payment from you. What I'm saying to you is there's a reason why we have to focus on it, because poor people, right, like as you go down the hierarchy of power.
You mean the institutions we are failing in the services, you mean?
Right. People, and so while you guys are sitting there saying to me, look here, Erin, poor people can't even think about it because they're hungry. I agree with you. But what I'm saying is that the stress that poor people are facing becomes multiplied because not only are they hungry, but they don't have the ability to do the basic things they need to do to be able to feed themselves, which is why we need to be proactive and not ignore the technology.
Beyond that it comes from comprehensive thought. Look at the light bills. We are paying competitive light bills compared to mortgages. When your light bill is the same thing as what you're paying for a mortgage, there's something wrong in a country where you're saying that the taxes are continuously rising on the backs of the Bahamian people. The opportunities have to be presented itself, and it has to be weighed. You have to be able to give and a take. Look at the situations that we have going on in the country. We're paying road traffic. Every car has to be licensed. It's being enforced by the police. And yet the roads are inadequate to even drive on. You're bursting your tires. You're getting your rims messed up. These infractions and these things that are happening are practices that nobody seems to say, hey, this needs to stop. Because if I can be paying this money for this, and this is the reason that I'm paying it, then it needs to be able to say, hey, comfortably we could ride on the road and not putting a lawsuit to say, I'm going to sue these people and not get paid.
It's more than that, and this is why we have to be proactive as opposed to reactive, right? Because we get callers, texters every day that say, Erin, you're running out about road conditions, you're running out. And what I say is this, is that it's not just that we pay taxes and the roads are in a horrible condition. It's that the average person who's paying attention, when they're driving on the streets, could easily identify spots and projects that are going to quickly deteriorate just by the signs that are visible. For instance, you on a roadway project and you don't have any cones out. You don't have any signs out to indicate roadworks ahead, detour if possible, cones to indicate when the road changes, composition changes, right? If the people them wearing tennis shoes while they patching the road, and I could tell you almost right away that that's going to be a poor job. All that means is send the inspector. They won't even send the inspector to assess it. It's worse than, and was I telling you, it's worse than, oh, the roads are bad and we keep paying taxes and nothing's happening. It's that they know why the roads are bad because they continue to give contracts to people that are not properly provisioned. They don't have the tools. The staff don't have the expertise to provide what it is that we're paying for. I could look at it and tell you in a month's time, in 2 months' time, that hole is going to reappear or cause another hole nearby. Because we're not being proactive, we're being reactive.
Well, I know the proactiveness was the other day. There was a big hole by COB, and CA would have gone there and literally filled the hole so that no other person could further get their tires burst during that time. Remember that, CA?
I remember that.
And it takes initiatives even from us, the public, to say, hey, we see a situation, then some of us get up and let's make some changes to make them. I see the guy on Calvin Road, they place a banana tree in the hole. Mm-hmm. 45 minutes later, people came by and patched the hole. Start putting banana trees in the hole, man.
No, that's not the response, Ian. The response is to start. Pause. That's reactive, Ian.
Well, there's a cause.
And we'll always be we'll always be stuck on the plantation is if we always and only ever see ourselves as reacting to the conditions. If we don't understand that we can change the conditions. It's time to organize formally. We are no longer enslaved people.
Or no?
No.
Oh, no?
You have a company, right? Mm-hmm. We are on the radio and we can speak freely, right? We have the freedom to moderate our own speech, to govern ourselves. We also have the freedom to organize and be proactive about this. Too many men out there and women out there with real money, y'all know who you are.
The questions are...
Spending money that's intended for collective national... Hold on.
Pause. Are they nationalists?
Forget nationalists.
You have to have Bahamian pride. How many of these people do you find that...
It's not Bahamian pride.
I'm saying Bahamian.
No, it's not Bahamian pride.
See,
you have to have empathy and respect for other people.
But it has nothing to do with empathy.
Take Bahamian out of it.
If you had pride in your country and building a nation, if you believed in your country and you believe in nation building, I believe, this is my personal
You don't
opinion.
believe in nation building?
I believe in it.
No.
I believe in it.
I can tell you don't believe in nation building.
I can tell you why I believe in it. Because I practice what I preach. And that's...
You ain't bring the Johnny cake yet?
That is satisfying Erin's stomach. That's it.
No, it's not.
Johnny cake too. Tell us both of our stomachs.
So
no, it's not.
Fish or boiled fish?
What I'm saying is put the politics aside. It's not about nationalism or patriotism. It's not about a commitment to a construct. It's about commitment to other people. I care enough about other people to constantly consider the impact of my action or lack of action in every space that I'm in. People them love the Bahamas. The last couple of weeks, everybody is proud to be a Bahamian. That didn't stop them from That didn't stop them from running red lights, risking people's lives on the road. It didn't stop people from lying, stealing, cheating, because it's not a commitment to a construct that saves us. It's a commitment to each other.
I believe
that
it's a
saves
commitment
us.
of building a nation and we...
But building a nation for whom? Unless you're building it for each other.
But
it means nothing.
But this is where CA started to say to you and make mention with the Bahamians that are suffering, or Bahamians that are underpaid, or the Bahamians that can't get food in the morning. or can't afford to pay the light bill and
One second.
absorb the heat.
Yeah, 1 second. We can pick you up right after this call. Morning, caller.
Hello, good morning. How you doing?
Good, thank you. I apologize. I like Rowan. It's Man Down Wednesday.
I know, I see that. You know, like you said, when they fixing these holes, you know what they doing?
Mm-hmm.
They pumping the tire down with the shovel.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have any a gasoline pumper to pump that. They just using the shovel and hit it, and the first rain come, it wash it out.
Yeah. Are they sealing the hole before they put the patch?
Yeah, they even do, like you said, dig the hole out, put that stuff in there, get a tamper, and just keep going over it where it gets fit tight. But they using the shovel. Sometimes the shovel, when they hit it so hard, is break.
Mm-hmm.
So what they need to do is to, like you said, train people to fix the holes. You know, when I used to live in Exuma years ago, they used to fix the road, and the road, when they, you know, little holes come in the road, but those guys had that tamper, that hand tamper, and they pack in that, and it's a last longer than the guys who fixing the road now.
Yeah.
And so that's something they need to do. Another thing, Erin, you can tell me, although the police might not have any jurisdiction over that, but if they driving and their motorbikes and they see these big holes in the road, all they have to do is get a hold of, hey, this hole need to be fixed because it need to be accident. But you know what they can wait for, Erin? Until a tourist hit one of these holes with a motorbike and get killed. And then they can be vigilant to get... Sorry, I have to say this, but that's what it's going to do to take them to be more diligent in getting these roads fixed. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you. And Ian, thank you for giving some space. We got one more caller. Producer, we got one more caller? Good morning, caller.
Hey, good morning, Erin. Good morning, Erin, and good morning to your guest.
How you do?
I'm fine, thank you.
Yes,
Loving
ma'am.
the rainy day.
Oh, it's nice and cool, eh?
Man, I haven't even turned air conditioner on in my vehicle yet.
Good stuff.
Listen, the gentleman who was talking about the potholes and saying that they're using shovels. Have you realized that when they stuff these potholes, they stump them most of the time with their foot. Mm-hmm. And for that reason, the patch that they put there is almost as deep as the hole itself.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if you noticed that.
It's round. Right, it's as round as the hole is deep.
And not just that, it goes down in the hole versus covering the top of the hole.
Yeah.
Or in some cases, they put too much tire in it. So when you ride over it, you're still hearing this unusual sound under your vehicle.
Yeah.
You understand me? They don't check.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
like I said before, I think the road traffic police could assist in that because they drive around more than anybody else. You know, I know these government workers, road traffic and stuff, and the road works persons, they see these holes in their communities and stuff. In some cases, they report it, and then they're giving out contracts to so much people who are just friends and family who don't know what to do and how to properly do it. I'm assuming that some of the reasons why the holes are patched the way they are, because the minute it rains, they dig right back out like the gentleman said.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. That's why I say I don't like to see them in tennis when they patch in the road. You ain't gonna tamp that hard in your tennis, buddy. You ain't gonna hit your foot. But if you got on steel toe boots, maybe you can tamp it a little harder with your foot. With Ian, go on.
You know, I got 3 pet peeves this morning.
Yeah.
The 3 pet peeves is when is there going to be a mortgage relief, and why is the banks taking people's property when they have about 90%, the persons have 90% interest within the building and the bank has about 10%. Why is it that we're looking at Bahamian homes and all of these particular things and mortgages from a low-cost perspective when a low-cost home will cost you anywhere from $130,000 plus in calling it low-cost home?
Yeah. Low-cost home program is a misnomer. What they meant was you can't qualify for this home in the regular bank, but you could qualify for this home in the Bahamas Mortgage Corporation.
For that particular sums of money?
Yeah, that's all it is. It's not that the house costs less. In all those low costs, it's not that the house costs less. It's that the people couldn't qualify. So the Bahamas Mortgage Corporation provided better terms so that people could qualify for the same thing. You got 2 more points. You got to do them quickly.
I want to talk with the mortgages, man. People
No,
need
we-
relief. People talking about the hungriness. Like you say, let's talk about the hungriness.
Okay, well, in the second hour, let's do that. Let me read through the text before we go to our break. The end of this hour. Somebody say, ask Graham for the Powerball numbers. Somebody said, same with road traffic and this new customs clearance at the airport needing an app on your phone. Not everyone has the storage space. And the texter said, I thought it was illegal to fill a pothole. Technically, you're not supposed to interfere. But we got to find out again. These are things we should be paying attention to. Another text, why does everything have to be digital? And here's my greatest concern. Are we managing the pace of development as we trend to a digital world? Right? Are we managing the pace of development? And what is the government doing to ensure that the utilities service providers, primarily power and communications, what are they doing to ensure that those entities are being regulated properly and that they are also developing at the pace of national and governmental development? You want to take me to a cashless digital world, but you can't keep the power on. You can't keep the communication services running. You can't hold them to account. The customers can't talk to them. For many people, there appears to be no recourse. We don't know what's happening at IRCA. And I will say that boldly. We don't know what's happening at IRCA in terms of customer-company relations. But you want to move us into a future that you, the government, can barely navigate. And you expect us to survive on our own. While you look at us and say, well, everybody's struggling.
We don't know nothing but the right.
Anyway, Ian, you are inciting me. It's usually Mr. Nuri. Start the music, producer. We out of time. We got to move to the second hour of the On the Clock Guardian Radio AM Man Down Mashup Wednesday. Thanks for joining the conversation. Like I said, I tell you, Nuri, I thought this could be a good conversation, man. It's something we need to pay attention to, and we need to encourage industry stakeholders to get ahead of. Not react, be proactive. You've been On the Clock. We're going to switch over to Guardian Radio AM in a moment. Thank you, producer. We out of here.